Years after romance, I found out I have a daughter. As I try to connect with her, I feel guilty for missing her childhood and struggling to earn her trust. It all started with a chance encounter at a coffee shop. I was standing in line, patiently waiting to order my usual double shot of espresso, when I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned around to see a woman with a bright smile on her face. "Hey there," she said, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Mind if I join you?" I hesitated for a moment, but something about her energy drew me in. I shrugged and motioned for her to take a seat in the empty chair beside me. Little did I know, that simple interaction would change my life forever. We exchanged small talk over our steaming cups of coffee, and before I knew it, we were lost in conversation. Her name was Sarah, and she was a freelance artist with a passion for traveling. I, on the other hand, was a software engineer who spent most of my days glued to my computer screen. Despite our differences, we hit it off right away. After a few more coffee dates and late-night walks through the city, I found myself falling for Sarah. She was witty, charming, and unapologetically herself. I couldn't help but be drawn to her free spirit and infectious laugh. But as quickly as our romance had begun, it came to an end just as abruptly. Sarah sat me down one evening and confessed that she was pregnant with my child. My world came crashing down around me as she explained that she had decided to raise the baby on her own, without my involvement. I was heartbroken and lost, unsure of how to process the news. I tried to convince Sarah to let me be a part of our child's life, but she was adamant in her decision. And just like that, she disappeared from my life, taking my hopes and dreams of being a father with her. Years went by, and I tried to move on from the pain of losing Sarah and the child I never knew. I threw myself into my work, burying myself in lines of code and debugging software glitches. But no matter how many lines of code I wrote, the emptiness in my heart never faded. It wasn't until a letter arrived in my mailbox one sunny afternoon that my world turned upside down once again. The return address bore Sarah's name, and inside the envelope was a photo of a young girl with piercing blue eyes and a mischievous grin. I stared at the picture in disbelief, trying to reconcile the fact that I had a daughter out there in the world, growing up without me by her side. The guilt and regret washed over me, filling me with a sense of longing and desperation. I knew I had to find a way to connect with my daughter, make up for lost time, and earn her trust. I reached out to Sarah, begging her for a chance to meet my daughter and be a part of her life. Surprisingly, she agreed, albeit with a sense of caution in her voice. And so, I found myself standing on Sarah's doorstep, nervously clutching a bouquet of flowers as I waited to meet my daughter for the first time. The door swung open, and there she stood, a miniature version of her mother with the same bright smile and curious gaze. I knelt down in front of her, unsure of what to say or how to act. She eyed me warily, sizing me up with a hint of skepticism in her eyes. I cleared my throat and held out the bouquet, hoping to break the awkward silence between us. "Hi there, I'm your dad," I stuttered, feeling the weight of my words hang heavy in the air. To my surprise, she took the flowers from my hand and grinned up at me. "I've always wanted a dad," she said, her voice sweet and innocent. And just like that, a bond was formed between us, forged through awkward conversations and shared laughter. I spent countless hours with my daughter, getting to know her quirks and passions, and trying my best to make up for the years I had missed. As we navigated the ups and downs of fatherhood together, I couldn't help but marvel at the irony of it all. A short romance had blossomed into a lifelong connection, one that would shape both our lives in ways we never could have imagined. As I tucked my daughter into bed each night, listening to her innocent giggles and whispered dreams, I knew that no matter how late I had arrived in her life, I was determined to make every moment count. And so, we embarked on a journey of laughter, love, and endless possibilities, embracing the humor in the chaos of it all.